What's good? DavonJamil back again with Sports from the Stands, finishing up our pre-draft off-season analysis of what teams should do division by division. I gave you the Atlantic Division already. Now we'll get into the Central Division of the Eastern Conference. So let's say what the teams in this division should do based off of where they ended, and just what's the best outlook for the team. And again, this is just my opinions. I don't know no insight. I'm not a journalist. I don't have no sources. This is just how I watch the game, how I evaluate the business side of things. And let's see where we, end up at. Now, first up, got the Cavs. Took another L at the hands of the Warriors in the finals. King is, he's doing what he got to do to get him there, but can't pull it off against the Warriors, man. So LeBron's a free agent again. Obviously, he's a key free agent for the Cavs, along with Rodney Hood, who's a restricted free agent, then Jeff Green, who they got on a minimal deal last year. Probably bring him back on a similar deal if need be. Excuse me for reading my nose. But they're picking number 8. They got that pick from Brooklyn or Boston, from Brooklyn originally. Obviously, the biggest thing in the offseason is what is LeBron going to do, right? And the Cavs in the blind spot because they draft tonight and they don't know what LeBron's going to do. They don't know what LeBron wants. So they got to pick based off of two factors, whether it is somebody that LeBron wants to play with or whether it's somebody who can usher them into the future if LeBron does decide to leave, which most people assume or says that he will. So they're in a tough spot. Now, what I think they should do, nobody fucking knows. I mean, how do we know what they're going to do? We don't, because LeBron is the master at holding things up. It's on his time when he says he's ready to do it, and the Cavs have a decision to make. We're going to wait it out, or we're going to play as if he's coming, play as if he's leaving. Obviously, to me, you play as if he's going to go. You know what I mean? You plan for that. You put yourself in the best position to be the best team you can when he's gone, if he's gone. And if he decides to stay, at the end of the day, that pick is still somebody he can work with and help develop in the future, because at the end of the day, his career is coming on the downside. And in a couple of years, maybe he'll be able to turn the keys over completely to that person. Now, it's tough. They're saying they have a trade or consideration to trade for Kemba. I think that if you really think LeBron's going to stay, you got to trade for Kemba, because LeBron isn't in a position where he can keep doing so much. Like this season, we saw him do so much work in his 15th season in the NBA just because he had to. The team didn't come together like they thought when they traded for Isaiah or traded Kyrie for Isaiah. The young guys that they brought in, everybody thought that, he was excited, that it was rejuvenated, but we saw in the playoffs and the finals that they weren't ready for those moments. And he had to do so much. Like, I don't know what his exact finals numbers were, but I'm pretty sure he was almost averaging a triple-double. And guess what? Like, that's just like crazy. So I think if you want him to stay, you want to show him that you're willing to spend and do what you need to do to get him to stay, Kemba's the move you got to make. If it's not Kemba, I don't know too many other point guards on the trade market that he would be like, oh yeah, that's who I want. But I know Kemba's out there, or possibly out there. And with Charlotte trading Dwight Howard, I know Kemba's a good locker room guy and all that, but ultimately they look like they're headed to a rebuild. So they should be trying to get as many assets in as possible. And that 8th pick will be a good asset to add to the core, to the group of what Charlotte has. So I think, me personally, I think LeBron should stay in Cleveland because I don't see how going to the West helps you beat Golden State. I mean, it's so many other tough teams in the West that you have to beat them first just to get to Golden State. So I don't feel like I don't see how that helps. Like, to me right now, I don't see it. Now, the business side of things, obviously I get how LeBron's so great and he'll make every team better. I get. But at the same time, in the East, you've dominated the East for your whole career, basically. Been to, 8, 9 straight finals or whatever the number is. So stay in Cleveland where you just made it to the finals with this lackluster group. Improve that group by adding a Kemba Walker and, some other things that might come in the fold once he decides he's staying. Some other players may be willing to go to Cleveland to play with them because people have shown to do it in the past. But stay in Cleveland. Your home is Cleveland. You took a world championship in Cleveland. At the end of the day, you dominated the East. If you leave the East to go out for greener pastures in the West, it's going to be tougher. And there's no guarantee you get to Golden State, beat them, and then win another final. So me personally, I think he should stay where he's at. But again, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what Cleveland should do. So Cleveland, I think you trade for Kemba Walker, even if LeBron doesn't stay, because Kemba has a year or two left on his contract. So at least you have a formidable all-star to play with Kevin Love, and you'll still be a decent team in the East, regardless of what LeBron does. If you draft a rookie, if he doesn't come in right away and light the league on fire, then you're going to be in a position where now you're going to say, well, do we trade Kevin Love to get some more assets in? So I personally think if there's a good deal that makes sense on the table, you trade for Kemba Walker. If not, you draft that young point guard or that young player, and then you just see what they could do on their own. I do like Colin Sexton going to Cleveland. I think that'll be a young guy LeBron would love to work with too. That's just my thought. I don't know that personally, obviously. But I think Kemba might be the safer bet, just to show that you're trying to do what you need to do to keep LeBron in the fold. Because you've already shown it when you got rid of Isaiah, you got rid of the guys who came in and didn't fit. You've shown that you were really willing to make changes necessary to try to win. So I think he knows that, he sees that, and if you pull off the Kemba trade, same things can kind of happen. I think they'll give him more reason to consider staying in Cleveland versus leaving. So that's what Cavs should do, if you ask me. And I ain't nobody. I'm just somebody who think I am somebody. Ha! That was sweet. All right, next, you got the Pacers, man. Surprised everybody last year. Oladipo balled out, became an all-star for the first time in his career. I think Oladipo just got better, and he's the player that Orlando thought he was going to be, not OKC. OKC wanted him to be a complementary piece to Westbrook. Orlando drafted him thinking he can be the piece. He was just young, still learning the game. I think now he's figured out the game, and I think we saw that in Indiana where he's an all-star in his league. It just took him time to reach that point, and now the opportunity presented itself with the Pacers, and he's made good on it. So they gave Cleveland a tough run in the first round. I think they won 7 games, lost in game 7. Oladipo's back in the gym. They got a nice little team around them. They work hard. They grit, blue-collar guys. That is young. I think he'll still decide whether to opt in or out. Lance Stevenson has a team option. Then you have Trevor Booker, who's a free agent, Corey Joseph, Glenn Robinson III. I believe that they struck gold with Oladipo. And Miles Turner has to continue to develop into a formidable all-star. He needs to be in the all-star conversation next year. He can no longer be just a good player. He has to reach all-star status if this team wants to go any further. They have the 23rd pick and the 50th pick. I think they should keep the pick, add through the draft, try to find free agents who can fit the mold, but you stick with the core, which you have with Oladipo and Turner. You don't necessarily need an all-star point guard because Oladipo handles the ball a lot. So a player like Darren Collison and Corey Joseph, they fit fine with what you do. You might want to try to find a small forward who goes along with them a little better, or a stretch forward a little better than Thaddeus Young. But if those options are not there, which we all know free agents going to do what they want to do and sign with the best fit, might not be a trade on the table. You don't have many assets on the bench that you can put together for a good trade unless you're giving away a lot of picks, which I don't think is the right thing to do. So I think you keep going with the draft, keep building with Oladipo, Turner, even Sabonis. You bring back Lance. Hopefully he opts in because he's Lance. He does stupid stuff, but at the end of the day, he works hard. It seems as if his teammates like him. Again, Thaddeus going to do his own thing. We'll see. I would think that they would want Corey Joseph to opt in. I feel like Corey Joseph is a good combo guard where he can play backup point. He can start if you need him to and kind of hold down the fort. So I think Indiana's in a good spot to stay relevant in the East. And then depending on what LeBron does, they may move up or down, in the rankings. And then whatever other things they do in the offseason, we'll see. But ultimately, I just think that they struck gold with Oladipo, and Miles Turner has to get to all-star consideration if they really want to take that next step. All right, third in that conference this year was the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, you remember they fired Jason Kidd pretty much in the middle of the season, or during the season rather. They have his replacement in place now. They lost to the Celtics 4-2. They got the 17th pick in the draft. They need guard depth and shooting. My assessment here is that they need a formidable big. They need a big who's a legit big. They have a lot of guys who come in and play the spot. John Henson. I can't think of all the other guys that they've had. I know they got that rookie from last year who's kind of played it a little bit. But they need somebody who can legit be the big. I know Antetokounmpo is long and tall, but they need a legit big in there. DeAndre Jordan, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's somebody they should consider. Even a trade for Hassan Whiteside. I mean, he's making 20. Let's see it, maybe you can consider that. Just get the conversations rolling about that. But they need a big that can really handle the paint well. And it's not a pick and roll guy because you don't really run a lot of pick and roll on Antetokounmpo. So that's not really the kind of big you need. So I feel like DeAndre, even though he is that guy, he's a defensive presence through and through. Whiteside, same thing. So I think that's what they kind of need to look towards to take the next step. They keep drafting, and then they gotta stop missing on these picks. They get a lot of draft picks, and they don't pan out to be too much of anything as far as I'm concerned. And they miss on these picks. Like, they keep drafting the same kind of kid. You know what I mean? Like Rashad Vaughn, they drafted 2 years ago or so. He didn't pan out. It's another guy, I can't think of his name, but their draft picks don't really pan out too much from what you can see, or obviously be like, yeah, he worked out, they developed him well. They missed on their picks, and they got to stop missing on their picks. Jabari Parker came back off injury. Didn't really play a whole lot. The guy decided to do Jabari. I think you might consider moving them, or, he's a restricted free agent, so if he signs an offer sheet that you think is too much out your price range, then you might got to consider letting him go. I don't see what their plans are for him. I think Jabari is a stud. I think once he gets healthy, completely, fully, he'll be an asset to any team. But maybe his time in Milwaukee has come to an end. So we got to see. They got to decide on that. And they can decide because they'll get to match whatever offer sheet that he may receive. So that's what they got to decide. But ultimately, to me, for them to take the next step, they got to get a big. They got Antetokounmpo, who was an all-star, superstar. They get Eric Bledsoe last year, who's a very good point guard. I think he'll be more comfortable being in there for a full year, a full offseason. But they need that big that can really hold it down in other areas than what the ones that they have do. So that's just what I'm thinking. Obviously, we'll see through the draft and early on free agency what route that the team is going. But I think that's what they need to do to get better. All right, we got the Detroit Pistons. Missed the playoffs. Fire standing man. Gotta go. But they did make that huge trade to get Blake Griffin in the fold. So they got Blake next to Andre Drummond. Now it's what else do they do to fill out the team? Obviously, they traded that pick, which would have been a lottery pick, but they made that trade to get Blake, so can't really argue that too much. They got a second-round pick. And then the only free agents worth noting are Anthony Tolliver, Jameer Nelson, and James Ennis. So again, nothing is going to light the world on fire as far as free agents are concerned. My assessment, what they should do, I would move on from Reggie Jackson. All right? Reggie is not a starting point guard in this league, to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just me. But Reggie's not worthy of starting. Like, you're asking him to carry the load at point guard for your franchise, which now has Blake Griffin. So ask yourself, would you put that point guard, Reggie Jackson, with Blake Griffin? I wouldn't. I think Blake is good. I think they'll give him more ball handling duties, trying to create more from him. But you need a better point guard next to him. So do what you did to get Blake. You're going to have to trade for your point guard like you had to do to get Reggie. Nobody is breathing down the block to try to sign Detroit. They don't even have the cap space to sign any guy. You're going to have to make a trade, another trade, to get them in the fold. Now, you have the assets to do it. You might have to give up something you really, really like to get it done. You might have to give up Luke Kennard. Stanley Johnson, that's probably not a hard give up. He hasn't really done too much. But you're going to have to make a trade and add some more picks to the fold. Me personally, if you're trying to win now, you hire Dwayne Casey, who was the number one coach in the league last year, who got fired. You hire him. That hire tells me that you're trying to win right now. He's even come out and said you're trying to win right now. You can't win right now with Reggie Jackson at the point. Sorry. So I feel like Isaiah Thomas, Maybe you can, sign and trade for him. He'll be cheaper. You might give him a 1 year, $18 million, $19, $20 million contract. Trade some pieces around, move some shit around, some stuff around. Let me stop cursing. And get him in the fold. So I think that's something they should look to do. Add a better point guard who is an upgrade over Reggie Jackson. Now Isaiah has to check out health wise, but I think we all know when he's healthy, he can get a bucket on his own. Him and Blake with Andre Drummond, that'll be a nice little thing going on in the East. So I think Isaiah wants to win now. I know Blake wants to win now. I know Dwayne Casey wants to win now. This is the move you make if you're trying to win. Stop holding on to Reggie Jackson. He is not the answer. So that's just my opinion though. Don't hate me for it if you're a Detroit fan. Maybe you agree with me if you're a Detroit fan. I guess we'll find out. But that's just what I think, man. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening with Reggie at the helm. All right. Last in this division, you got the Chicago Bulls, Chi-Town. Marketing came in last year. Outstanding rookie. Made a lot of switches last year with the roster. You got the number 7 pick and the 22 pick this year in the draft. The need said to be that they need a wing player and a center. That's going to be bountiful in the draft with pick number 7. So what should they do? What do we think the Bulls should do? Evaluating the team, I think they can't go wrong either way in the draft. Whether you go point guard, whether you go big, whether you go wing, they can't go wrong because they need all types of players. I don't know if Chris Dunn is going to be the answer. He had a good year. I don't know how they're going to play Levine. I think they should keep Levine, but do they play him as a point? Do they play him as a 2? You got to kind of see that play out a little bit more. I think they'll go big in the draft because there's so many bigs in the draft, and then hopefully that big can come in and play well, develop, and eventually you'll move on from Robin Lopez as your starting center, that is their starting center right now. That's what I think they'll do, but they can't go wrong either way if you ask me because, they're at the bottom of the totem pole. So you got to get the best players in and keep it moving. But I think you keep Levine and then you draft the best available regardless of the need, and you keep building through the draft. You got some young players in there. You got a lot of different pieces in there you're trying to figure out. I know they took on Vonleh from Portland last year. He's a restricted free agent. I think they keep building through youth. Obviously, you might want to add some vets in there for locker room purposes. But you keep building with the youth movement, and then eventually you'll figure out which direction the team is for sure going to go. But I think that's what they're going to do. They found marketing. Now you find a piece to add with marketing, so you start to build your core. Levine could be a part of that core, but you gotta hit on this next pick. So I think they'll go big, and I won't blame them for that. But that's what they got to do. Keep building, and then we'll figure out where we end up at, for years to come. So, again, that is the wrap on which division is this? On the Central Division. All right. So Cleveland, you gotta see what LeBron gonna do. Then that's gonna determine whatever else they do. But me, best thing, trade for Kemba if you can. Indiana, keep building with Oladipo, Miles Turner. Get to All-Star consideration, my guy. Milwaukee, you got to get a big man. DeAndre, Hassan. I'm pretty sure there's some other ones I can think of if I really, really studied it. But John Henson is not a starter. That he's a good player, but nah, not going to happen. Detroit, let Reggie go. Let Reggie go. Reggie, let him go. Try to get a better point guard. Obviously, if nothing happens, then you keep him because he's good enough to start. He's good enough to play. He can play. Don't get me wrong, he can't play. But if you can get Isaiah, again, if I studied it and see who was free agents or on the trade market, point guard wise, I figure it out. But I think Reggie Jackson has come to his end as the starting point guard of the Detroit Pistons. I think that's what we need to be saying. For them to make that next move to win now, as Dwayne Casey has said. In Chicago, keep building with marketing, build through the draft, get that next piece in there, build that team up. So whether it be a front court mate for him or a backcourt mate, depending upon how you feel about the pieces you already have in there and what's available. We just got to watch the draft and find out. All right, but that's the Central Division, man. Like I said, I'm gonna go division by division, break it down until we get through all 30 teams. And then ultimately at the draft, we just see what happens. So thanks for watching and tuning in. I appreciate all the love and support. Whether it's bountiful or not, it's just me trying to just get my opinions out there, you know, just having some fun with it. So this is DavonJamil. This is Sports from the Stands. Holla at me later. Peace.